Tuhotni. Tuhotni is the word for suffering. Ajitnahuitna is another thing, where life is complicated. And there are other words in that identify the things that are painful to the spirit, the things that are painful to the emotion, the things that are painful to the mental capacity, and the things that are painful to us physically. And so the things that we suffer, and those are part of life, that we learn from it. There have been many times in the history of Diné where they had to endure and persevere through suffering. And the causes in that may have brought the suffering is a great lesson. And in many ways, people would think it was a negative thing. But it is a positive thing if we can take the opportunity to learn from it and consider the idea of suffering as a gift. It is a gift from the holy people. And it is our responsibility as individuals that we learn from these things. What caused it, and what did the people do back then, and what it is that we need to do today. After the Treaty of 1868 was signed, our people came back to a very small portion of the land that was originally a large portion of land in the southwest. But our people had to move back into areas where they were not familiar with the landscape or with the sources of water and feed for their animals and so on. And then when they had to reduce their livestock under force, where the government brought in people and they shot their herds of sheep by the hundreds and just left the bodies to rot. That was a great mistake, and it was a suffering. And our people never forgot that suffering. But it is today that we have the idea that the overgrazing was a real problem, and there was a lot of erosion in that. And the lesson learned is that we are a little bit more cautious about how we raise our livestock and how we take care of them. And that's only one thing. The idea is that we have individual suffering, whether it be emotional, mental, physical, or spiritual. These are things that we are gifted with, to be able to deal with those issues in our lives, that we must endure and persevere. Ha'in is what they used to say, and they still say it. That means endure it and hang in there. When our people were subjected to the long walk, or actually being taken captive, they endured a lot of things on their way over there, some 300 plus miles across the state of New Mexico, and the imprisonment for 4 years, where they had inadequate food, and the land was alkaline, they couldn't grow anything, the water was bad, and so they endured and persevered in their condition of imprisonment. And what we learned from that particular experience is that we have to be more united as Diné. Prior to that, all of the different clan families and clan relatives pretty much took care of their own clan families and their own clan selves. But then when they returned from the long walk, it was that we had to understand that we had to be united, all of the clans. So we took everything and put it under kinship, relationships that we have as Diné. And that was the thing that was developed from that. And so to this day, kinship, relationships, and that is very important. But we can take it a bit further and say that the relationship that we have with the Supreme Beings and the Holy People is very much important. It is very, very important. It's the most important thing in our traditional teaching, is to have that relationship with the deity. And it is the things that are contained in the ceremonies, the songs, the prayers, and the way that ceremonies are conducted. And so it is to help us to understand that the positive things that come from the way that we are subjected to suffering, and how we endure it and what we learn from it. And it makes us a better people, more spiritual in many ways. In the teachings, just being angry about the things that you suffer and the things that you are subjected to, and making yourself a victim. You make yourself a victim. And it is that section or anger is something that is dangerous to you as an individual. Anger will do more harm than good. And so you can't be angry about the past and try to compare it to what we have now and divide the two and make them opposite, because it affects our lives in negative ways, because it destroys the future that we can have. So we have to learn from the past and understand what the conditions are, what they really are at the present time, so that we can plan for the future and the things that are ahead. Because the planning in the future is not really for us in many ways, it's for our children, our grandchildren, and all of the people that will come after us. And those are the things that are probably on the good side of knowing. Don't make it so that you are angry about the past and not do anything about it, because the things that you want for today are not what you would like to have. But it is that we're learning from the past and then seeing what we have now and making a plan for a better future. Those are the things that we can learn from being subject to suffering. Don't be a quitter. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on the things you need to do. And the little things that you do, little things matter. They add up, just like the seconds of a clock. They add up to minutes and hours and days and years. So the little things that we consider as a suffering condition of our lives is really a learning experience. It is something that makes us grow to be better people if we do the enduring and the persevering in the right way. And so those are the things that we are told.